site work there was accomplished because things are being moved around and reconfigured somewhat. But that if using that set of test, the Plan Commission and the board determined that it was appropriate that a very limited amount of grinding might be acceptable. They were proposing something like a maximum of 5 hours per week.
Right. I mean, the minutes suggest that the commission is going to look at this grinding issue at a later date. I'm just wondering how they're going to address that.
Well, I think that's, these are uncorrected minutes, and I think the discussion was recommending to the board that this issue of grinding not be a foregone conclusion in any approval that we give, that instead it be something that's potentially available even if we grant the special use, but not automatically assured until we have the opportunity to satisfy ourselves as to the noise level.
The reason why I'm concerned is I know Mr. Meltzer lives in Meadowland, which is most affected by this change.
Right.
So I think his ear to the ground, so to speak, no metaphor intended, is probably something that we should be listening to.
Right.
His comments.
I also note that he abstained with respect to the vote on the change to the comprehensive plan.
Because he wasn't at the meeting at which that was presented.
Okay.
That was all.
Thank you. Urban Forest Management.
Thank you, Mayor. As you remember, shortly before the last board meeting, we completed our survey of gypsum moth egg cases, sample size in the village. And we provided you with copies of that information and also a copy of the Forest Service printed management threshold recommendations based on those counts. So hopefully you had a chance to look at those two items. The third item that you got this evening, Pat prepared a map for us. He added these locations to our master gypsy moth maps, and it's what's interesting is he was able to change the size of the dots based on the scope of the count, so you can kind of see visually how those all fit together. I just wanted to take a brief minute to talk about these counts. As you recall, on the initial management threshold was 250 egg masses per acre. Now, but when we set up our sample plots, we sampled an acre at each of these locations, and then their scale went up to at the 250 level per acre was noticeable caterpillars. At the 500 per acre, there's noticeable defoliation, and then it goes from there in seriousness. The 23 samples we took, the highest count was at 2920 Orange Base at 104. So on that per acre basis, that's about half, a little less than half of what the initial threshold was. Just to kind of give you another bit of information as a reminder, when we did our trapping the males last year, we had some pretty significant numbers in the southwest corner of the village. And in those locations, the previous year, I'd noted defoliation of trees in the Forest Reserve property, but I didn't notice any, or didn't have any reported to me that were in the village in that corner. So last year, we trapped, I think the highest count was around 2,500 males in one of the traps, 2,800 something in one of the traps, which is a lot of insects to trap, and still no defoliation. So we're starting to develop some information that lets us help make some management decisions. So what I wanted to do this evening was kind of discuss those things briefly, and then to suggest to you that based on my review of this information and what we're seeing in other communities, I think the population is going to continue to be low this year. And it happens quite often in these populations where they have these outbreaks of things like we had in 2008 in the corner over there. They'll last for a year or so, then they'll crash. It's like a lot of natural populations, you overbalance one direction, and other things come along and take care of them. So my basic recommendation is that we don't spray this year, that we continue to do the monitoring that we've done, continue to request residents to call if they have sightings of the insects and that, so we can kind of keep monitoring the things we're doing. And I think that you're going to see that response to a lot of the other communities. So I wanted to get mention that to you this evening, and you can discuss it. And
Would you have Kirsten write a little note for the Village Voice, which is going out? The deadline's the 15th.
Okay.
So just call if they see the gypsy moths.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll put this whole summary, this whole information in the newsletter. So people can, because I know when they were doing the counts, people came out and if they found one, they go, so we're gonna spray, aren't you? And the response was, we're doing the counts right now and the board will make that decision, so. But that's my recommendation at this point.
Thank you.
Chuck?
Yes.
Yeah, do you have any, the counts in your trap were, last year were very high, and by these red circles, as you indicate, it looks like a fairly low population. Do you have any sense from surrounding villages, the consistency, what this means, or is it too soon to
Well,
really form a picture?
Well, I think what it means to me is that you know, the focus of our problem because the program we had in place was to deal with the areas where we had some individual populations where we were getting higher, and in 2007 we sprayed, and we sprayed the area from Port Wine to Juneberry and from Deerfield Road all the way south. And we had this huge outbreak of insects, and we didn't notice very many egg cases in that area that we sprayed. So that's what got us looking at the Forest Reserve property. And that year, there was significant defoliation in the Forest Reserve. And what's interesting to me about the counts that you were talking about with the males are the only ones that fly. So they're going to go a lot of places the females can't go. And the females travel in two ways. When they're just after, and I forgot to show these to you the last time, but we had some actual eggs from some of the egg cases are really tiny. And when the little caterpillars emerge, they're maybe a quarter of an inch long at the most. And they create this little thread that they can blow, it's like a sail and they can blow in the wind. So they'll travel that way, and then they'll have to walk because the females don't fly. So my feeling is the population exploded in the forest reserve, but it hasn't got to the village at this point. The males did because they could fly there. So I think that's the reason. I haven't had a chance to talk, you know, to Tony over in Lincolnshire and so on, but the communities that we work with, this is in our private clients where we do this. This is what we're seeing. So, but we'll check. I'll have Kirsten check with other communities so we can kind of give you a summary of that too.
Yeah.
Chuck,
And,
I'm sorry.
And I've forgotten, where do we stand? You sent a letter to the Lake County Forest Reserve District, and they initially rejected your request, but I've forgotten where that ended up.
Yeah, we had originally, you know, we found out last year or the year before that they had no interest in doing actual spray.
Yeah,
and so they had, we had sent them a letter over the mayor's signature. I am going to keep this short. We sent a letter to them over the mayor's signature requesting that they let us put traps out there and monitor so we can see.
Right.
And they wrote back that they knew they had gypsy moths and that was them. So then we sent them back, and so I met with them. And I met with the assistant director and his field people. And Kirsten does most of the communication with them on a day-to-day basis. But basically, the only place they sprayed is a golf course they acquired up on 176, but they do monitor the rest of their places. And I expressed to them what our concerns were. And they told me that they'd be happy to share the information. I haven't gotten any from them yet, but we'll follow up on that again and see where they're at.
Yeah.
But they're not
Do
going
they
to allow
use
traps.
What's that?
They won't allow us to put traps there.
Okay. Do they use the same kind of trap as you're using now?
Yes, I think that's pretty much the standard trap that people use. That's an improvement on the old ones they used to have.
Okay, thank you.